Please order as they stand. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You want to start off departmental reports, or you want to?
You go for it.
It's up to you. I'll do
No,
it.
that's just it. You go for it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I'll take those.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I need all the help I can get.
When did the, was that today, the coffee with a cop?
No, it's next week, next Tuesday.
Yeah, the maintenance warrants.
That's the blue one. Jay, how they're printing out now, is that the way you wanted them to be printed, the warrants?
Yeah, I did read them all, and I can see what the dollar value is for now.
And what account?
Yep.
The name of the account? and
Yep.
all the-
Yep,
okay.
thank you. I did go through all of them, and there's a ton of them.
You already saw this first.
Yeah, I read everything. I read all the department reports, correspondence, and warrants already. If you look in the back of my initial them all.
I'll make a motion that we accept
I didn't know.
departmental reports.
I will second Glenn's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's weird, some days I need glasses and some days I don't.
Is your body trying to tell you something?
Yeah, it's getting older.
haven't been here in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Been a while.
Got some bills to pay. Yeah, you spent a good day yesterday.
Yeah.
So you figure you haven't met since April 6th? April 5th?
Yeah, too many people have vacations.
Yep, that's right. Every 2 years, I take 10 days off. And
Not all retired, though.
I know, I'm on permanent vacation.
But just think, now that we have an assistant town administrator, you don't have to delay meetings when I'm gone, because the assistant town administrator can sit in this seat and advise the board. And I'm getting daggers at me.
They're going right through you. The lightning is going to strike.
I'm not going to look, because I know I'm going to get killed anyways. Tomorrow I'm going to be dead.
You should serve the coffee.
At 7:35, you'll hear an ambulance call coming in for need at the town hall office, the Board of Selectmen's office.
Would it be for a GSW or a knife wound?
You may have a temporary appointment. Be careful. Fontaine Brothers, is that for the...
That is the elementary school, yes.
A lot of professional salaries here.
Yeah. That's why we are.
Professionals, absolutely.
We're all professionals here.
As far as I'm concerned, you all are. All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve and sign maintenance warrants for fiscal year 19, number 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, and 65.
You all done, Glenn? You all done with this one? I know there's so many. Are you all done?
I am, yes.
Okay, I will second Glenn's motion, because I know there's a lot of warrants there. That's the reason I asked.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's 6 warrants. Now comes a lot of signing.
Yep. And be careful, if you don't sign it in the right place, the CEO will let you know about it.
These signed with a sticker book.
Right.
She has to be careful where she puts the sticker.
It's like stickers do move when you
Just
get that
sign here.
many pieces of paper.
I do not want to go against the assistant administrator. That would be disastrous.
So are we going to
I'll
get
make a
her, are we
pile
going to
here
get her a nameplate, so to
I think
recognize her?
we should put her at the table.
It's like a 60-day waiting period.
Or a probationary period?
Well, it usually takes 60 days to get the nameplate, so.
I'll do it that way, okay? Whatever's easier for you.
But I really think she should be up at the table with us now. I really do. We'll just instruct the camera not to shine in her face.
You keep it up, may not be tomorrow morning, might be tonight.
I had asked Chris, when he just had the account numbers, it didn't say what it was for. So he put it in now so we all can see what it, because he knows them by heart. I don't. Because he works them every day.
We aim to please.
Just a sign here, one just floating around.
That's the one that fell off the first one.
First one?
Yes.
Just sign it in the right
No,
place.
if it doesn't have sticky anymore, give it to me, because otherwise we'll keep using it until
Can
it
you-
falls on the floor and never sticks ever.
Recycle.
Can the town afford new sticky stuff?
Yes, we can. However, we have an individual who makes sure we use all the stick 'em up on them before we replace it with a new one.
Well, she said we had to wait till 1 July.
The tag's still good, use some Scotch tape.
I know, really. As well.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna hear about this tomorrow. Oh, guaranteed. Guaranteed.
I don't think she's gonna wait till tomorrow.
No, she has someplace to go tonight, so I'm lucking out for tonight. I'll incur the wrath tomorrow when there's nobody around. Steve can follow the blood trail.
Record that for us?
Now Steve can write a lot of checks. The last one I don't think I signed, you just threw there.
I'm sorry.
Majority was
That's for
there.
you and Steve. JR already picked his up. We'll do the special town meeting first.
There you go, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Do you want me to cover this, Glenn, or you want to cover it?
You can.
Okay, we do have a special town meeting warrant. The special town meeting is scheduled for Monday, May 13th at 7:10 PM to be held at the high school. It consists of 8 articles, 7 of which are regarding zoning bylaw proposed changes that have been submitted to the Board of Selectmen by the Planning Board. The Planning Board held their hearing on Monday, April 22nd at 6 PM. So they've met all the requirements. I'm just going to briefly go through it. Article 1 is to amend Section 2, zoning districts, Section 2, types of districts, Zone I2 by striking industrial district, limited landfill solid waste management and recycling use, and inserting limited industrial district. Article 2 is to change the Section 3, use and regulations, strike Section 3.0, schedule of use regulations, 3.1, prohibited uses, Table 1, schedule of use regulations, Section 3.2, dimensional and density regulations, 3.3, existing buildings, non-conforming uses, and inserting a new Section 3.0, 3.1, Table 1, 3.2, and 3.3. The entire text of which is set forth in the attached report and recommendations of the Planning Board dated, we weren't sure what date to put on there, so we used the day after your hearing, figuring that there was going to be any changes, because I believe you did hand out a handout at your hearing that I do have a copy of, and we can attach that for the time being. Okay, but you will have to have a true report and recommendations to town meeting. Article 3 is to amend Section 5, special use regulations and performance standards, Section 5.4, single-family dwelling on estate lots by striking the current language in subsection 5.41 and inserting no more than 2 estate lots may be adjacent to each other at the street line without site plan approval. Additional estate lots up to a total of 5 consecutive estate lots require site plan approval. Article 4 is to insert a new section 5.31 under section 5 special use regulations and performance standards regarding business estate lots. There are 6 subsections to it. 5.130 is business estate lots shall be permitted in general business, mixed use, industrial, and limited industrial districts, subject to the dimensional and density regulations as stipulated in section 3, table 2, table of dimensional and density regulations. 5.131, 2 estate lots may be adjacent to each other at the street line without site plan approval. Additional estate lots up to a total of 5 consecutive estate lots require site plan approval. 5.132, the area of each estate lot, excluding the access strip, shall be a minimum of 80,000 square feet. Section 5.133, any estate lot created must be held in common and contiguous ownership of the front access strip. 5.13.4, the estate lots shall have a minimum street frontage of not less than 40 feet and an access width not less than 40 feet from the front lot line to the principal structure. 5.135, the front width of the lot where the principal building is to be constructed shall be 150 feet minimum and parallel to the street line. The 40-foot building setback line is to be measured from the point of the lot where the 150 feet minimum has been satisfied. 5.136, the access strip shall begin at the street line and then where the 150 feet minimum width has been satisfied. Acceptable examples are shown in illustrations type 1-4 in Appendix A.
And I had a comment on 5.13.1 where it says 2 estate lots, and these are commercial or business estate lots, may be adjacent to each other at the street line without site plan approval. You could have any type of business there. For an example, we could have a daycare center and a liquor store. Do you want a daycare center and a liquor store next to each other? Because there's no site plan approval required. Any 2 businesses, no matter what they are, could be next to each other.
Well, what would be your justification to tell them they couldn't be next to each other? There's no law that states that they can't be next to each other.
Right, it wouldn't happen because there's...
It's up, that's what the site plan is for. Traffic control, everything like that is all considered within the site plan.
Right.
Well, if you do 2 businesses, you have no control of what's going on with the 2 businesses because they're never going before you.
But if they're in the business district, they have the right to put there.
Yes, I'm not saying they don't have a right to bid there, but there might be some conditions that the site plan would have to make sure it was safe for the residents. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying they can't go there. I'm just saying we should look, because every business can be different. It's not like a residence that is the same. It could be a Cumberland Farms that's open 24 hours against a daycare. And I'm just using an example. It could be any type of business. It could be a machine shop. It could be a gas station. It can be anything. And I think the traffic, particularly when they're on the state lots and they're going backwards, should be considered. Tractor trailers going in and out of there. So I think on state lots for businesses, there should be a site plan for each one. And that's my opinion. And I'm just, letting you know that up front, because I don't want to,
Which one you on again, Jay?
5.13.1.
Okay.
I'm not against 5 estate lots. I just think each one should have site plan approval. That's all I'm saying and recommending.
Well,
So-
I mean, these are what are proposed by the planning board
Yes.
for the town. So it's up to the town to decide whether or not they want it. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
But
to be
it's up
honest
to
with
the town.
you, Jay, this is reflecting the change that's being made to residential estate
It's just a
lots, too.
copy of it, the residential one.
So, you know, are you going to have the same issue regarding residential estate lots for the first two?
No,
Without
there's too
site
many
plan?
bylaws that control residentials as far as trucks you can't see and all stuff like that in our bylaws existing, but they don't apply to, in the business district.
I do see what you're saying, Jay.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. You know, I don't want a surprise or anything like that when it comes to the special town meeting, so I'm just bringing it up here now, so you're well aware of a concern that I have, that's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
It's a valid concern.
Because we have no idea what type of businesses are going in there. Yep.
Article 5 is to insert a new bylaw number 3.5.23, which is under 3.5 retail and services, 3.5.23 business estate lots, standards and conditions subject to section 5.13, RS, no, RM, no, GB, yes, I, yes, I2, yes, VC, no. Article 6, to change Section 6, Administration and Enforcement, Section 6.2, Special Permits, subsection 6.21, Special Permit Granting Authorities by striking the current language and inserting, the definition of Special Permit Granting Authorities shall be in accordance with Table 1, Schedule of Use Regulations. Article 7 is to change Section 5, Special Use Regulations and Performance Standards by adding Section 5.99, large-scale ground-mounted solar photovoltaic installations, a new subsection, 5.99.13, which deals with large-scale ground-mounted solar energy systems moratorium. Jay, I think you had an issue on...
Yeah, on 5.99.13, the effective date of the moratorium for 30 September 2019 was based upon this being introduced on the special town meeting of 4 February. If we take the 30 September 2019 date that's listed there, which is the same date, we were going to do it in February, and now we're almost in May. You back the 90 days up from 30 September 2019, you go September, August, July, so you might as well say you're in June. Now you got to back it up a couple weeks in June to do a special town meeting. Now you got to back it up a couple more weeks to publish and have a public hearing. You only got yourself 2 weeks. I think that date should be pushed out. Give yourself some more time. Put to like November. Otherwise, you're trying to do everything in 2 weeks.
It's not me.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
just, you're the chairman of the planning board, that's all I meant.
I'm one person on the board,
Yep.
one vote on the board.
Yep.
But this is what the board wanted to move forward with, to bring to the people to decide, so.
Okay, but you can see,
It can be amended at the special town meeting. An amendment can be
Yeah.
proposed and voted on accordingly.
yeah, I just wanted you to be aware of a concern I had before the special town meeting, so you're not surprised with it, that's all.
I understand that completely.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Article 8 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, stabilization fund borrow bond, $11,207.92 for the purpose of funding a prior year bill for the Granby Public Schools. This relates to the cost of conducting a superintendent search 3 years ago, 4 years ago? 3 years ago. That, number one, was never submitted for payment, and number two, never encumbered as a bill that would have to be paid in a subsequent fiscal year. So, due to the fact that neither being encumbered or submitted prior to this fiscal year, it is a prior year bill and it requires approval of town meeting in order for us to pay it. And that's the special town meeting warrant.
And that's the 90% vote?
I believe it's 90%, yes.
Yeah, a lot of people say yes.
So, does the board wish to approve the warrant as read?
I'll make a motion that we approve the warrant as read for the special town meeting.
I will second that, and if any amendments to be done, they can be done at the special town meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need copies with original signatures, please.
Can you hand one to Steve? Jay's already picked up his. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, do you want me to handle this one too, Glenn, or?
Sure. Did such a fine job with the last one.
Okay. I had already presented, this is for the annual town meeting for Monday, May 13th, commencing at 7 p.m. I had already gone over most of these articles with the board. There are 2 new ones that were added since I did it, but I'll go over each one of them. Article 1 is to conduct the business of the meeting on May 13th, consider Articles 2 through 11, and on June 10th, consider Articles 12 through 39. Article 2, to see if the town will hear reports of town officers or standing committees. Article 3, to see if the town will vote the board to conduct the following activities for 2020, to be able to sell tax title land of low value, to apply for state and accept state, federal, and state grants or monies, and to enter a contract with the Mass Highway Department for the construction and maintenance of public highways. Article 4, to authorize various departments to receive compensation for services rendered, cemetery commissioners to dig graves and maintain equipment and grounds in the cemeteries at a wage rate that is no less than minimum wage. Board of Assessors compensated $15 per parcel for necessary field work and data collection. The Board of Health or their consultants to receive compensation at a wage rate of $35 per inspection. Members of the Planning Board to receive compensation at a wage rate of $65 per inspection. Article 5 is to allow the Conservation Commission to charge a fee of $65 for each site inspection deemed necessary by a quorum of the Commission. Article 6 is to accept the following gifts for perpetual care of cemetery lots in the calendar year 2018. Article 7, to authorize revolving funds for fiscal year 2020. Parks Oversight, $40,000. Charter Day, $50,000. Planning Board, $50,000. After School Activities Program, $20,000. Dog Revolving, $12,784. Library Revolving for $2,000. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to authorize town departments to enter into agreements in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section A. Article 9 is to revise the Appendix D compensation plan pay schedules for effective for fiscal year 2020. Article 10, to accept the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 148, Section 26I, regarding automatic sprinkler systems for multiple dwelling units. Article 11 is to allow the Board of Selectmen, this is one of the new ones, to appoint a member of the Board of Selectmen to a position that is under the supervision of the Board of Selectmen as allowed under Mass General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 21A. Basically, as part of going through our biannual ethics training, it was discovered that the Board of Selectmen, being a paid board, is not allowed to appoint themselves to any other committee without prior town meeting approval. And this we're trying to do at the annual town meeting is get town meeting approval to allow you to appoint yourselves to various subcommittees and not be in violation of ethics. Article 12 is to appropriate offset receipts, the fire permit fees. Those are the ones that are collected from the issuing of burning permits, to accept or to approve $277,958, which is the authorized amount for Chapter 90 for FY20, to raise and appropriate, or to raise $175,000 for funding the town's OPEB liability, to raise and appropriate $9,000 for the funding of a revaluation of town property. Article 16, $52,000 for the demolition of a tax foreclosed structure. Article 17, $100,000 funding the cost of bond counsel, printing and issuing costs for the water main project. Article 18, $10,000 for the purpose of funding all costs associated with the foreclosure or collection of taxes owed on property placed in tax title. Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $200,000 for the purpose of funding inspection, repair, and/or replacement of the town's stormwater system. Article 20 is to appropriate $34,532 for tuition of students going to Smith Vocational Agricultural High School. Article 21, $21,500 for the purpose of funding the purchase of maintenance equipment at the Granby Public Schools. That amount was originally $30,200, but upon discussions with the Public Facilities Director and what equipment is owned by the town or the school, that was able to be reduced from $30,200 to $21,500. Article 22, $44,904 to buy a marked cruiser for the police department. Article 23, $227,000 for a dump truck for the highway department. Article 24, $102,000 for the purchase of a mini excavator for the highway department. Article 25, $69,000 for a one-ton dump truck for the highway department. Article 26, $700,000 for a pumper truck for the fire department. Article 27, $50,000 for a pickup truck for the public buildings department. Article 28, appropriate free cash, $131,814 into the general purpose stabilization fund. Article 29, transfer from free cash, $131,814 for the capital needs stabilization fund. Article 30, from free cash, $131,815 to go into the municipal building stabilization fund. Article 31, $358,634 to fund our share of the 2020 Pathfinder Regional Vocational Budget for 2020. Article 32, $415,050 to operate the Municipal Solid Waste Department. Article 33, $235,107 to operate the Sewer Department. Article 34, $329,574 to operate the Ambulance Department. Article 35, $30,000 to purchase a cardiac monitor. Article 36 is to raise and appropriate funds necessary to fund all town departments for fiscal year 20. Article 37, from Capital Needs Stabilization Fund, $120,800 to reduce funding from the tax levy. Article 38, Transfer from bond premiums to be applied, $41,061.84 for the purpose of funding the tax levy for the fiscal year 2020. And Article 39 is to allow the town to assess amounts raised and appropriated under these articles against all personal and real property in the town of Granby. And attached to that, we also have the annual town election warrant. As part of, this is to be held on Monday, the 20th day of May, 2019. The town clerk had forwarded a letter to the Board of Selectmen regarding recommendation to leave the hours from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. instead of going the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. as suggested at the last meeting when we originally discussed the warrant. What is the board's wish on the hours for the election of town officers?
I'm gonna go with the recommendations of the town clerk.
I have no problem with that. She's the one that has the data.
She's the one who has the line.
So my question before was, and it somewhat speaks to some of it here, but not all of it, was the amount of voters that were at the polls between the hours of 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. Because we're looking to go from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. So some of these, you look at the first hours from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., 3 hours, you're 98 voted, which may not seem like a lot, but when there's 556 that voted completely, 98 is a lot. That's a good, right, it's 20% of your vote voted that, in that time period. So I think, you know, and then looking at it, that's a lot of the same areas too.
Now, last year, what was the time that we did last year?
We opened the polls at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock last year? How many people came in between 7 and 9 last year?
2018, well, that was August. May 21st, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. was 98.
98, okay.
The
I just
five,
want to make sure it was the same as last year.
right,
not-
of the 556 people that voted. Also, well, again, so May 15th, 2017, there were 60 people that voted between the same hours, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. And that year, there's only 581 voters. So my big thing was between the hours of 7 and 9 o'clock, when a lot of people are dropping their children off to school and stuff like that. And that's, I think, where you, in my opinion, I think that's where you lose some of the numbers. The people have the opportunity to vote when they drop their children off to school. between that 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Window.
Now, this will be the first election where the entire school campus is consolidated.
That's true.
So I can go either way. We can try it for 1 year and see if it makes a difference, because people tend to do things if they're there anyways. I mean, I can go particularly either way. I mean, I can accept the town clerk's recommendation, or if we want to try it for 1 year and see, because the condition is people wouldn't go from West Street, maybe over to the senior high school. But since they're already at the school campus, maybe they will vote. And we need more people to vote in town. We need more participation in town.
Yeah, so my biggest thing as far as where I wanted some information and statistics, if you will, was the 7 a.m. to 8:30 time frame when people are dropping kids off at school and stuff like that. Because I think you get a big portion, as you kind of just said, Jay. People are there already. They may do it at that time frame, and I'm sure between the hours of 9 o'clock and noon time, there's probably very few. And I can speak for myself, standing out there on several occasions, that between the hours of 9 and 12, it's very minimal. You get a little rush between 12 and 1 o'clock.
Mostly it's the seniors before
Right.
they go to lunch.
Right, and then you get after 3 o'clock where it starts to pick up. So my recommendation is that we remain the same as we did last year with the time, and I believe that was from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So, and I know some people last year were frustrated at the end because there is such a line to vote as well. So that's something I think we should consider. Last year I saw several people walk out because they didn't want to wait in line. And at the time it was probably like 7:45 or something like that. So my recommendation is to keep it the same. I think we should give as much time as we possibly can for the voters to have the opportunity to come out and vote. So.
Like I said, I'm not a micromanager. That's why I pretty much go with the department head's recommendation unless I see something really wrong. But since this is the first time that everything is consolidated at one campus, I have no problems with trying it for 1 year. If the numbers don't improve, then next year I will go with the department head's recommendation.
Right. Well, my thing is I would like to see the 7 a.m. to
Right.
9 o'clock
And I'm
mark,
saying that-
because that kind of breaking it up into hour or 2-hour periods really will tell versus breaking it up into 3-hour blocks. I don't know when
7 in the morning.
those people
till
showed up.
9 at night.
No, 8 at night.
No, he was talking when she references her voting blocks.
Yeah.
She doesn't do 7 to 8, 8 to 9 to justify
Right.
going
I don't
from
know
7
most of the
a.m. to
people showed
9
up.
a.m. She references from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. there's 90 votes. Or 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. there was 68 votes.
And we don't know if they're coming in between 9 and 10, 7 and 8, 8 and 9, we don't know.
Correct.
That's the information that I was more or less looking forward. I definitely respect the information that Kathy has brought forward, but also I want to respect the town given the opportunity to.
Like I said, I'm
Have
not a
time to vote.
micromanager, but I mean,
So.
I can go either way on one-time shot. Since,
And I guess I look at it too, where if you have a town of 5,000 plus voters, and you're getting 600 that show up on an average on a regular basis, except for one particular year. I think when you talk about 50, 60 people, that's a lot. It really is. It can actually change an election too. So that's just my take on it. So my recommendation would be to keep it as it was last year, and I believe it was 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. last
You
year.
want to make that as a motion?
Yes, that is my motion, is that we keep the town election hours from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
8 p.m. or 7 p.m.?
I believe it was 8 PM last year. Whatever it was last year, that's what I want to keep it at. So if it was 7 PM last year, I would be okay with,
It says.
so they closed at 8 PM last year.
Okay.
So,
So you want 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
yes.
I'll second that motion. I don't have a problem for 1 year to try it. I want to see more people come out and vote, and if staying open 2 more hours will give us 20, 30, 40% more people, I think that's great. If it doesn't happen, then what?
Election warrant, and then just print that page and bring it down.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Did you vote yes?
Yes, I did.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. I'll hold off on you signing these warrants. Kathy's gonna do that one with the hours. Okay?
Can we just, when we get it next year, like Glenn suggested, we can tell Kathy ahead of time, we'd like it an hour increments on what comes in, so we can make a more conscious decision?
I would agree with that, Jay. And that's kind of what I was looking for, because that was my biggest concern, was that time frame when, if the school's not open, that's kind of totally different. But when school's in session, you bring a lot of people that one particular area
Like if
and
nobody's
will vote.
coming in between 7 and 8, or minimum people 7 and 8, and they don't start coming into between 9 and 10, then I would say we'll stay with the 9 o'clock.
Right.
But since we don't have the accurate data, because it's such a broad span from 7 to 10, we don't know when they're coming in. Are they coming in before work? Is it people coming in before lunch, like the seniors? We don't know. And since it always is one campus now, like one-stop shopping, that's why Cumberland Farms is such a good business. Let's see what happens, because I'd love to see more people come out and vote.
You want to go to the next topic until Kathy brings it down?
Yard waste?
Yard waste days. Mr. DeRozier is suggesting May 4th and May 25th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the highway facility for spring yard waste days. Does the board?
There's only one condition I'd like to put on that, and Dave knows because I'm usually there. When we put the flyer out, no plastic. It's strictly the paper disposable bags. Because if they bring it in plastic, it makes a mess, then we got to cut the bags, we got to get rid of the plastic, and it's not right. They bring them in.
Give the bag back to them.
Sometimes they're gone because we get them backed up so much. You can ask Dave.
Then you say you can't leave until the plastic bag is taken care of.
Don't accept it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying everybody should bring them in a disposable brown paper bag, not plastic. That's all I'm saying.
That's what the notification says on it, right?
Not all the time.
Well, we should make sure that says it.
That's what I'm saying, Glenn.
And also note on it that anything that's brought in a plastic bag will not be accepted.
That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah.
We have let people bring in trailer loads.
Right.
In the past. They empty it into our bucket loader basically,
Yep.
and then we'll put it in the dumpster, just for convenience sake, because not everybody bags
Yep.
all of their yard clippings. So I don't know if you want to make a change or not, but.
I just want to get rid of plastic.
Just get rid of the plastic
Jay's
bags.
point is that we don't allow plastic
Yeah.
in the waste
right.
stream. It's got to be dumped out of the bag into the loader. So if people put it in plastic, they're responsible.
Right.
We don't
Yeah.
have time.
They don't really. They really don't have time. I can vouch for
You
that.
guys are usually accommodating,
They help.
I know, I
help
watch
when they
them.
can, yeah.
But it goes back with the resident.
Yeah, but I see the plastic, they get it back.
Right, they take it back.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I'm there with my zip knife and I cut it open and see oil cans fall out of it, they get the whole thing back. Dave will vouch for that too.
That's also
I know it.
a different circumstance.
Two election warrants, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Well, Dave, whatever
you feel is appropriate. I mean, that's,
I'm fine with. It's your department.
Here are the 2 annual town meeting warrants. 8%.
Do you agree with that, Dave? Give it, no plastic.
Well,
If-
no plastic can go in the dumpster, otherwise we'll lose the opportunity.
We
to
lose,
dump for free.
right, that's,
I mean, if people want to take the time out and go off to the side and go load a bucket,
I don't either.
they empty it themselves.
I don't either. But I don't want to see the plastic left there and them leave, is what I'm saying.
No
Which has,
plastic, I believe you.
Yeah,
which has happened before.
it wouldn't hurt to put that in the load.
I'll pull them off. No, those you're not, because of the original. Don't pull it off, because I'll pull the staple
I
off.
wasn't gonna pull it off, I wasn't sure if
No,
one fell off the sticky thing.
I took them off. I took them off right here. Okay.
I wanna make sure that
Because I didn't want Steve to follow the sign here sign and then get yelled at again.
It would be a disastrous situation.
I think Chris is looking for that, we'll see.
You wanna make a motion? No plastic?
No plastic. No plastic.
Thank you. Next topic is we have 2 disclosure of financial interest forms from the Finance Committee. The first one is from Richard Jolivet. Basically, his mother is a per diem employee of the school department, and therefore, by right, he should not be voting on the school budget. However, under Chapter 268A, Section 19, he can disclose a financial interest and determination by the appointing authority that he has a immediate family member that has a financial interest in the school budget. And basically, the appointing authority can grant the disclosure and allow him to continue to vote. However, we will have to file it with the town clerk's office, if the board so desires to do so.
Because otherwise you have to recuse yourself, correct?
He has to leave the room, yes.
Right, recuse myself.
And the second one we have is from Robert Glessman III. As he is a retiree of the town of Granby and has health insurance through the town, he by right should not be addressing the employee benefits section of the budget. However, by disclosing this and the town and the Board of Selectmen accepting this disclosure, he would be able to continue with the discussions, and again, this would be put on file with the town clerk's office.
So what does he need?
What you have to do is, if you agree to this determination, as appointing official, as required by general law, Chapter 268A, Section 19, I have reviewed the particular matter and the financial interest identified above by a municipal employee. I have determined that the financial interest is not so substantial as to be deemed likely to affect the integrity of the services which the municipality may expect from the employee. Basically, you're granting this disclosure of financial interest of either them or a family member. And to be honest with you, for Mr. Jolivet, he's one member of a 5-member board.
Right.
And again, Mr. Glessman, he's one member of a 5-member board, so I don't foresee that whether he votes yea or nay has a substantial effect on the integrity of the services provided by Mr. Glessman or Mr. Jolivet as a member of the Finance Committee. That's my own personal opinion.
No. Both individuals, sorry.
Yeah, I don't have any question that they won't act in the best interest of Liz, so I don't have a problem with that.
I would agree with Mr. Martin. I don't have a problem either, because if it turns out they do have a problem, then it's on their own problem with ethics, and they have to answer appropriately. All we're saying is, we don't think there's a substantial problem. If it turns out there is a substantial problem, they have to explain it, not us. So I have no problem with agreeing with Mr. Martin.
And you have the luxury of being able to unappoint them if there is a problem.
You are 100% correct on anybody that we go every year to appoint.
I'll make a motion that we, I guess, we're
Authorize the chair.
authorizing the chair to sign off on
My sticky so
non-disclosure for non-elected municipal employee or financial interests and determination by appointing authority as required by General Law 260A-19 in reference to Richard Joseph Jolivet.
I will second Glenn's motion.
Sorry, I put the stick in it. Yeah, good.
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't want Kathy to get me.
See, we might as well get you a nameplate over there, because you're gonna be mentioned more and more.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the chairman, Steve Shinaki, to sign the disclosure by non-elected municipal employee of financial interest as determination by appointing authority as required by Mass General Law 268A-19 for Robert A. Gleesman III.
I will second Glenn's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Following stickies.
All right, follow the stickies. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do you have the other one?
Right here.
Go back there. We have a 61A request.
Yep.
Yes. We have a 61A request from Leonard E. Laflamme, Bruce A. Laflamme, Mark L. Laflamme regarding 29.33 acres of property. That has to do, I believe, where they were planning on putting a solar array up by Nexamp Inc. And currently the property is in 61A. They want to take it out of 61A, and in accordance with the rules and regs, the Board of Selectmen has the right of first refusal on whether or not we want to purchase that property. Normally we hand this over to the Land Use Committee for evaluation and recommendation to the board. And I'd like to follow that procedure again.
Yes.
I agree entirely, because if we don't give it to the committee, why do we have them? We want their recommendations.
We already discussed number 7, the letter from the town clerk, which was regarding the special, or the election, annual election.
Look at me when you say that.
Because it was sitting right next to you. I'm grabbing it away from you. Next item is junior, senior high roof committee letter. The town had 8 applicants that were culled down from 11, I think it was, 12?
We had 8 applicants in total.
Oh, 8 applicants in total. The high school roofs committee reviewed the 8 applicants' packages, culled it down to 4 for interview, conducted the interviews on April 10th, and ranked the 4 finalists accordingly. The applicants that were ranked are Roy S. Brown out of Wilbraham, Gale Associates out of Weymouth, CSS Architects out of Wakefield, and CBI Consulting out of Boston. The number 1 ranked firm was Roy S. Brown. With this now being done by the committee, it is now up to the Board of Selectmen or their designated individual or individuals to contact Mr. Brown as the number one ranked firm and to try and negotiate a suitable fee for his services for the roof replacement at the high school. If we are unable to come to a agreed upon price, then we would go down to the next number 2 on the list and try and negotiate with them, number 3, number 4. And if we can't come to an agreement for a fee, then we start the process over again.
Is there a timeline that's been set, the design has to be completed by, so we can complete the actual repair and construction and not interfere with next year's school start yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would want to probably put the bid out probably in May if we could, because I believe we were talking a July
Start.
7th start date? I think
Yeah.
it was 7th, 8th?
I just want
July
to make sure these guys can
through
meet that
August
to have it
24th
up front.
construction period. So I would like to give the architect enough time to be able to do the design work, any investigative work that they would have
Yep.
to do regarding the subroofing,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to coordinate and put together the RFP package on behalf of the
Is there
town.
going to be any incentive in the package if he gets it done sooner? Just asking a question. You know me.
That would have to be a decision on whoever's negotiating the contract to bring back to the board for subsequent approval.
There's a lot of the contracts I've negotiated before is fixed price plus incentive. If they can get it done sooner, because I just want to make sure the school is done before the next school year starts. That's my biggest concern.
Then you would have a completion date they'd have to meet. If not, then they could be
They're
penalized.
going to have stuff in there as far as weather, they're going to have acts of God and all stuff like
As
that.
regard for the architect, getting the stuff done, the only thing he has to worry about whether is going up and doing cuts on the roof to determine anything about the subroofing.
Right, I understand.
Outside of that, you would do that with the construction contract
Right.
to
But-
give them an incentive to get it done quicker.
Right, but I just want to say, if we can move the architect up, getting it done, it gives more time for the construction is all.
Well, we can negotiate that the work has to be done within 60 days, 90 days,
That's
45
fine.
days, whatever you
I
want to
have no
do.
problem. I just want to make sure it's done.
But who does the board want to appoint to conduct the negotiations?
Oh, Glenn, do you want to continue? You were on the committee, I mean,
I can't,
oh, you can't.
because I was on the committee that selected the individuals.
Oh, I didn't know you, if you were on the committee, you couldn't.
So my recommendation, or my recommendation would have the Board of Selectmen with our town administrator, Chris Martin, to do it.
So, Mr. Martin would be the representative for the Board of Selectmen.
No, that's not what I said.
Well, that's why I'm asking the question.
I would think that it'd be the Board of Selectmen with the town administrator, Chris Martin.
Is the board available to meet with Mr. Brown as soon as possible? Or are we going to have to wait, or?
I think the board should try to make that a priority.
Well, I've got a lot of priorities on the 2 committees I have, that's why I'm asking.
Let me finish. and for some reason the board cannot make it work in a reasonable time frame, then I would revert back to giving the authority to Mr. Martin to act on our behalf. I would like the board, again, participate in it, and for some reason, because of a time restraint, then I would understand that piece. But I think
The only concern I have is then every negotiating session has to be a public meeting.
Because there'd be two of us there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would suggest to the Board of Selectmen that you appoint Mr. Martin solely as the negotiator for this proposal. And of course, the Board of Selectmen have the final authority to accept the negotiated price.
I was thinking that myself, that just appoint him the negotiating party for us.
Well, then I still would like someone from the select board to be part of it, and whether it's the chair, yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I do have, my schedule is
or,
bound in
But
concrete.
again, but if Mr. Martin feels, that's not a need or necessity, then I'm okay with it.
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is with time being of the essence, we should start entering negotiations as soon as possible.
This coming week.
Yes.
Well, and I go back to what I said before. So if the person's not available, then I would. So if we can do this way, if it's not the Board of Selectmen, it's
A member.
the member,
Do I remember?
a member,
Yes.
to be there with you, to be part of the negotiations, and it will not be myself. So obviously, it would either be Jay or Steve to be part of that. And I think with stipulation, if they cannot meet, obviously, so if you set a date for May 3rd, and for some reason they cannot meet, we still authorize you to move forward with it, because I do not want to delay it. But I think it's
No,
important.
I think it's absolute, we have to next week.
Right. Well, again, but I think it's okay, and I think it's important to have a member of the select board there.
Well, I know I can be there.
So, but I'm also okay with that. If a member can't be there, then he can continue without the person, right?
What I'd like to do is contact Mr. Brown tomorrow.
Yes,
And arrange a couple of dates for next week.
okay. No, yes, absolutely.
Jay, what do you have to do?
What do you think?
During the day. I'm gonna say during the day.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Honestly, I really don't have the time. I've got 2 grants coming due and another one to write. Not counting the regular stuff with the budget, the special town meeting, the annual town meeting. I honestly don't have the time. I would like to have done contracts before, but what's more important, me negotiating a contract for a roof or me getting more money for the town? That's what the bottom line, I have to make that decision. Yeah, but
But again, I go back
Yeah.
to saying that
I agree with you.
you do not have to be there, but I'd like a representative from the board. So Chris can act, you can pick a date that works for you, because you're the primary person, needs to work for you. And obviously the applicant, and then, we can talk to Steve and Jay, or talk to Steve, and if Steve's available, great, move forward. If Steve's not available, talk to Jay. If Jay's not available, you still move forward. Does that seem fair?
Because I'd like to have it wrapped up.
For the board meeting on the 6th, so we can move forward with the contract. Be honest with you.
You better get on that phone first thing in the morning.
I don't think he gets into about 9. Actually, I'll email him. That's the easiest way. So, okay.
That's just if the board feels different, please.
Before the board enters into an adjournment, I have a couple more topics. I opened the bid regarding the electrical services for the Dufresne Park.
Before we move forward.
Yes.
I just want to recognize and thank Steve Nally and Steve Sullivan for their participation in what I was consider definitely the word I'm looking for, but it was definitely a challenge to review all the applicants and the information that was presented to that committee. So I think they did a great job, and I want to recognize them publicly on the job they did. So thank you.
Yeah, but they're not done yet. They're not done yet. They don't know, they don't realize they're still gonna be involved through construction.
Up to this point, they've done a great job.
It's gonna be up to them to make sure construction is done before the next school year commences.
I got a lot of faith because I see the way they operate. I got a lot of faith in them.
You do?
I do. Yes, I do.
So, to continue on, as I said, we did advertise the electrical services up at the Dufresne Park. We had a bid opening yesterday at 1 p.m. We had one response from BWP Electrical for $16,400. And I don't know if the board remembers when the Dufresne committee came in, it was like $23,000 for the proposed project from just going out and asking somebody. By this process, we reduced it almost $7,000, which, and they have to meet the conditions in the bid spec, which it has to be done within 120 days of the contract award. So, with that being said, does the board wish for me to enter into a contract with BWP Electrical to commence work on the Dufresne Park?
I'll make a motion.
The only question I have, in 3 months, so it may not be done for Charter Day.
We don't want it to be done for Charter Day.
Okay, well, that's why I'm asking.
I don't want it to interrupt the Charter Day
Okay.
festivities. That's why I picked 120 days.
Well, that's why I was asking the question. I was just
I
figuring.
gave it 4 months,
Okay.
okay? Which is,
What if it is done? What if this company
if he gets it done
gets in?
beforehand,
Okay.
that's great, but I really don't want Charter Day to be affected
To be
by the
interfered
work,
with.
okay? If you can get it done before Charter Day, hey, more power to him. I don't have a problem with that. But we're saying they can't go beyond 120 days. So that they don't come in, pick away at it, oh, I got a couple hours here, I'm gonna go do an hour here, an hour there. No. This is a true contract. If
True
you want the
contract
money,
on the fill-in work.
if you want the money, you commit to the time. Okay. So do I have a motion to award the contract to Bruce or BWP Electrical
WP
Inc.?
Electrical?
WP Electric Inc., 127 Morgan Street.
I make a motion to enter into a contract for Dufresne's with
Electrician services.
electrical.
Want me to get that?
Yeah, somebody, so I can at least read it. It's like, come on. I know.
He talks with his hands.
I do all the time. I know.
At the top, at the top.
At the very top. Town bid number, okay, electrical services. I do talk with my hands.
Well, he's been talking, so he could be
Pointing at me
know,
with his
really.
hand, it doesn't mean anything
The
to me.
electrical service upgrade, Moratorium, Dufresne Services, Board of Selectmen, was with that at that time, schedule. Did the contract, what's the name of it?
WP Electric Inc.
WP Electric Inc. I make a motion that we enter in a contract with WP Electric.
turn the manila envelope over
Oh my God.
on the upper
Glenn,
right-hand.
Glenn,
upper-
you didn't do me well. Oh, okay, BWP, okay. Make a motion that we enter a contract with BWP Electric Inc. from 127 Morgan Street, Granby, Mass. Do the work for
$400.
$16,400 at Dufresne's Park.
I'll second the motion as read.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next topic.
There is a letter from the Granby Highway Department that was issued to a Mr. Senecal at 1 Bittersweet Lane. Mr. Senecal, without contacting the town, constructed a stone wall and planter within the town's right-of-way on, at Bittersweet and West Street. Due to the fact that that is on a corner on West Street, and it could present a potential for a traffic hazard for people, we're asking Mr. Senecal to move the structure off of the town right away, and we're sure that Mr. Senecal is probably going to be upset with that recommendation.
Is that a line of sight issue for drivers? What we're
I think with it being on a curve, and sometimes if the curve is slippery, and according to AASHTO standards, which is some sort of road design standard, don't ask me, ask David, he's the one who knows it. You have a certain right-of-way in case someone goes off the road and you do not damage private property accordingly. Is that correct?
Clear zone, yes.
Does that also violate our bylaw on the corners for fences and obstructions for right-of-way, for line of sight? Does it also, I'm just saying, if he's gonna be upset, I mean, if it also violates one of the bylaws, it's more strength to get rid of it, that's all I'm saying.
I'm not sure it would affect line of sight, but it's more of a hazard. If somebody hits it, it's gonna be a solid obstruction. It's like hitting
A fire hydrant.
bridge abutment or something like that, that's really close to the edge of the travel lane. That's why everything on highways and everything is kept way away from the travel lane, so you can sort of slide off the road and hopefully regain control and come back to the road without getting into an accident in many conditions, many small.
So the right-of-way along
Yes.
West Street is 60 feet wide.
Yes.
Right, this is approximately 30 feet from the center line of the road. So is his structure within that?
4 feet off the asphalt, so it's probably about maybe 15 or 16
Right,
feet
so
from the center line.
it's where it shouldn't be.
Where it should be.
So that's gotta be, and then it's gotta be removed.
Well, I'm just letting the board know that it's going to potentially be.
Issue. So,
Well, unfortunately, it was put where it's not supposed to be, so, you know, I understand that, but there's also, you know, maybe done some research beforehand to ensure it was in the right spot, so.
Okay.
I understand that, so.
Just want to let the board
Yeah,
know.
no, that's good.
Potential. Next item is we've had a request from GAA to be able to do some of their own field maintenance out at Brown Ellison and Duke Park.
basically, David was out there today with his crew. Was it?
2 of us.
2 people, I'm sorry. A crew of 1. Working on the ball fields. He basically did do prep on the ball fields today. They did use soil conditioner to break up the grass followed by infill maintenance, using an infill maintainer. And he does not recommend, because they want to do rototilling to help turn over the infield where weeds are overgrown. He doesn't recommend it as it goes too deep and digs up the rock underneath the topsoil.
So are they're trying to get like the weeds and stuff out of the infield?
Yeah,
That-
we worked on that today.
Yeah,
I mean,
that can be
before
scraped.
that,
Yeah, well, that can be scraped without rototilling it. I mean, rototilling it, you're just gonna put it back inside the ground and it's gonna grow back.
The soil conditioner has tines that are about 3/4 to an inch long, and it breaks the grass roots up, it kills them. And then the infield maintainer has a blade that cuts the roots, but it's gotta be done frequently, and the problem is we don't have the time to sit there and do it every week when we're out mowing and doing
Right.
other things. Right now, even we're racing to try to get both 2 frame and Brown Ellison done today, because this is the first time we have 2 days.
Oh,
of
especially the weather, the way, I mean, you've been against the weather for the past several weeks, I'm sure.
It was too wet at Dufresne
Yeah.
to even do it today, but we did it anyway because of the fact that
I understand where GAA is coming from. Definitely appreciate their willingness to help with it, but I think as a town, I think we need to be responsible for this taking place on those particular areas as well, because that we have control over what's being done there. And it could be a liability too if something's being done and we don't know about it. Talk about rototilling and someone leaves a hole, a big hole, or it's unsafe or whatever it may be. I just think it belongs in the hand of the town for the upkeep. I think we try to do our best to upkeep it for GAA as best that we can.
That is the reason why I'm looking for the additional groundskeeping position.
The 1.5 time positions to hire someone 40 hours during the summer months to maintain and be able to do this type of work and keep up with it using David's equipment and so on and so forth.
You'll be a crew of 2.5.
No, he'll have a full-timer for the summer. Winter months, they disappear. Winter months, they disappear.
And that goes to saying, kind of support what the GAA is doing. And I think,
Right.
devoting manpower, if you will, to that area, that position, I think is a lot.
So, but I just wanted to bring to the board's attention, they did make the request, but David did go out today and was working on that. The last topic I need to bring up is this morning, Kimberly Myers, who is the activity director for the Council on Aging and the site nutrition, director of the nutrition program, tendered her resignation. Her resignation is effective May 9th. Accepted it with regret.
Did you give a reason?
Change of venue. She's been here 19 years and basically she wants to move on to hopefully bigger and better things to do. It is a big loss. A lot of knowledge will be walking out the door. However, some people, you just got to do what you got to do. You know.
Now, is the COA director going to hire somebody else? Is it going to come through? How's that going to happen?
She gave it to her at the same time. I was in the room with Chloe at the same time. She handed both Chloe and me the letter of resignation. Kim did say she would help in any transition to a new employee, and she teared up. She teared up. But I just wish her well in her future endeavors and hope it's something that she'll enjoy.
Absolutely.
You know, so. And yes, Jay, I did turn to Kim or to Chloe and tell her she needs to start putting together an advertisement for the replacement
And
position.
she will do the hiring herself.
In conjunction with me.
Yeah, I know everything's in conjunction with you as far as you supervise them.
But I'm just going to say in conjunction with me, yes. So.
We wish. Well, first of all, we thank Kim for her 19 years of service to town of Granby, but also we wish her the best in her.
Are we going to
What
do
she wants to do.
anything for Kim before she leaves, or give her any kind of recognition for her years of service?
Well, we can try and get a plaque, but who knows how quickly we can get one in. That's all I can say is, you know. I know that they're doing something at the Council on Aging, and outside of that, it's,
Tomorrow.
you know.
Yeah, can you forward me the information when you find out, so I can attend, I will attend.
I think they're talking about a tea party?
Yes.
A tea party on the 7th, I
With the
think?
high tea, with finger sandwiches and all that.
What is this, what you would food all the time? They were just going to give her tea, have tea after lunch.
No.
They were going to have tea after lunch.
Listen.
God.
My mother came home and told me what was going to happen. I hate to say it.
Did you use the cake?
No, because I was agreeing with her.
But, yeah, it came as a shock, but, you know, I wish her well. You know, if you know, I understand, you know, people get burnt out, you know, doing the same thing over and over again, and they just need to go and try other venues to see how well they will do it. You know,
I'm sure it was a careful, thoughtful
Tough decision.
decision for her to make. Absolutely. So, somewhere for 19 years, absolutely.
But,
So, last thing is we do have some Dufresne rentals I just want to run by the board. We have a bridal shower on August 24th, 2019 at the large pavilion gazebo and open field in front of the gazebo. There will be alcohol on the premises during this event, and that will be addressed by the board at a future date once we get all the proper paperwork to issue them their alcohol permit. On May 18th, we have a youth fishing event. That's Cops and Bobbers, Hooks and Ladders Youth Fishing Partnership. Number of people estimated is 150, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Is that going to be no fee on that rental?
They are paying the least amount of fee because we still have to have someone go in and open and close and things of that nature.
Okay,
So
as
they
long
have
as
to
it's the least amount of fee, since it is our police and our fire department, isn't it? It's not our police and not our fire department?
No, no.
I just
But
presume.
the issue is that we're charging them a minimal fee, so.
We're not charging them a deposit, we're charging them they had last year too.
Okay.
You know, they need the facilities open, they need this, they need certain things, so we're charging them.
But
just
it
the
wasn't
basic
stated
fee.
who it was, so when they say cops and ladders, I was presuming our own departments.
So, on June 8th, we have a graduation party, 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Liquor, no. Estimated number of people, 199. Then we have on June 15th, from 5:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., the pancake breakfast put on by the Granby Police Association during Charter Day.
During Charter.
Every year they do that. Then we have, for the Friends of Granby Elderly, the summer concert series, gazebo and lawn area, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. We have June 18th, 2019, July 6th, 2019, August 20th, 2019, September 4th, 2019, we have the senior picnic at the pavilion from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that takes care of it for the Friends of the Granby Elderly.
Actually, there's one more that they added.
I have the COA Salt Council. Is that the one you're talking?
There's one after that.
Okay, well, I haven't got to it yet.
That's why she's the assistant town administrator.
We have the Granby PD COA Salt Picnic. It's the annual salt cookout. June
18th?
17th and 18th.
Oh,
17th is their prep day.
Oh, okay.
They go in and bring everything in. The 18th is the actual date, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Then we have the Granby Regional Horse Council on Sunday, June 23rd, annual open horse show, both horse rings in the parking area. Estimated number of people is 60. Friends of the Granby Elderly, oh, here we go again. For August 6th, a summer, as part of the summer concert series. August 6th from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we have a family picnic on August 10th, 2019, from 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. No liquor. We have on August 17th, 2019, from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m., a company family picnic at the large pavilion, gazebo, and open field. Liquor authorized, not at this time. So apparently they are looking for it, but that will end up being addressed by the board at a future date. That's it for Dufresne Rentals, and hopefully this will be my final topic, is we had a complaint about someone moving trees at Dufresne Park yesterday. When the officers responded, they discovered Miss Shania Humphrey out there planting a tree to replace a broken tree. When the officer asked her what she was doing, she says she's in charge of the trees out there at Dufresne Park. Miss Humphrey had an issue prior when she planted the trees over by the Horse Council that she didn't go through the Conservation Commission, and she planted trees that they did not like, and she planted them in areas that they did not want them planted. So this is the second time she's been out there dealing with trees without going through the town, notifying the town, and is telling our police department that she's the official tree person out there. I want to send her a letter indicating to her that she does not have the right to go on the property without notifying us in advance, unless she has an event, and if she doesn't, then I will trespass her from the property at some point in the future. I can't have her going out there and doing what she wants to do. We had another issue once where the gate was locked. She took the gate off the hinges so she can get into the park from the Taylor Street side. Okay, because there was a tree down, we locked the gate because there was a hazard issue, and she just takes the gate off the hinges and goes in whenever she feels like it. So.
You're talking about banning it from the park?
Yep.
That's a letter of no trespass. I'd put a cease and desist order out on her first, probably.
She won't abide by that.
But then that's something, then.
But the thing is, it's continuing to happen, Glenn.
I don't want to stop someone from using the park, and I understand what she's doing there is she shouldn't be doing, obviously. But I think there's other actions that we can take against her. You have the right to use the park, just like anybody else does. However, you cannot damage the park. You cannot do things to the park that other people. If you are digging a hole in the park, you have no authority to do that. So I would look with our police department. Is that a destruction of property?
No, but I'm just saying.
Right.
But if it
Continuous, and she keeps ignoring the warnings and the letters and whatever we send to her. At some point, we need to turn around and tell her, no.
Have we ever sent a cease and desist order?
No. The last time we had conservation go out and they dealt with her.
Okay.
But I don't see there's no need for us to send a cease and desist order to her because she has no right or authority to do what she's trying to do in the first place. She is just on. So if she is told, you could send a letter to her that she has the right to use, or not right, but she has the right to use that park, but no other area should be taken. Right.
Your actions at the park. If you or I go out and dig a hole in the park and somebody trips and breaks a leg,
Again, I go back to the police department that it is destruction of property. Regardless how you look at it, you're doing something to the property that doesn't belong. Just if I went to your house and I decided I was going to dig up your tree, I can't do that. It's not my property to do so. So I think that if that does happen, we file a complaint with the police department, and I think that is a strong arm to use. And I think it's given her fair warning at this point that your actions will not be tolerated in the future.
I'm not saying issue a cease and desist immediately, Glenn. I still say notify her, just saying, please be advised. You cannot go out there whenever you want and plant trees or take down trees or do whatever you want to do.
I misunderstood.
I don't want to go immediately cease and desist,
Okay.
but
Right.
if she continues to do these type of actions, at some point,
Then I misunderstood. I thought you didn't want her to have the access to the park anymore.
not right away,
Okay, then I'm fine with that.
because I'm concerned when the officer goes there and she says, well, I'm in charge of all the trees at Dufresne's.
Oh, she's lying to the police officer.
But the police officers didn't know that. Because I asked, because Chief Wishart had called me saying, did I know of anybody moving trees around on Dufresne Park? I said, not that I know of, there's nobody supposed to be out there doing that. So he had a cruiser respond, but he never told me. So I asked him this morning, and he forwarded me a report that basically was, we had Shania Humphrey out there.
That's awesome.
Or Shana Humphrey out there digging a hole to put a tree in to replace a tree that got broken, must be during a windstorm or during the summer or the winter hours. And I'm sitting there saying, she has no right to do that. We had that issue when she originally planted the trees, and the conservation went out there and had issues with her.
So I would have that letter sent as you stated, and with the, any additional
Changes.
actions will
Unauthorized changes to the park on your part, whether it's putting up a fence, whether it's putting down or changing out trees or putting in new trees, it'll be considered destruction of town property.
be the action we would take up to, and I'd follow up with the chief as far as what charges are, and I'd list that. Is that it's not going to be tolerated.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why, yeah, I agree. I'm sorry, Diane, I apologize. I thought at first you said you weren't allowed on the park.
No, but if she keeps ignoring us.
Absolutely.
At some point.
Right. Absolutely. Whether she had good intentions or not, you can't do that. So.
Yes.
Well, yeah, no, see, her actions, that's what I'm saying, cease and desist. I'm not saying don't allow her in the park, but send her a cease and desist on your actions while in the park. You can't do any physical changes, number one.
I agree, but that's everybody. It's not, she's not doing something, that's everybody that's in the park. No one has, so that's what I'm saying, send her a cease and desist, I don't think is valid. That's just my point on that part. To do that, because I don't think it's valid, because it's anybody, but. That's just where I would.
See, when you go on there and your dog poops and you don't pick it up, you're destroying public property.
It's actually toxic waste.
Yes, I know it is.
That's a federal offense.
Only in America.
But I hear what you're saying, but I don't know if that meets the guidelines for it. In May, I don't know. I just didn't think it did, because that's anybody that can go out there and do that.
No, I understand that.
Versus me putting up, starting to build a house without a permit, then that's where a cease and desist would start. You can't do that.
Standard operating procedure.
Yeah, but I understand. I don't know if it would. We could look into it.
We'll look
It'd be
into
good.
that, see what we have.
It would be good to look into, because if you have to go down that route, we would know. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think
Yeah,
taking the hinges, taking the gate off the hinges and going in and doing what you want is a little.
I think again that those are actions that probably could have seen, results from the police department, because that is trespassing. The gate is closed for a reason.
Well, when we sent the officer there, she argued with the officer.
You know, that's the thing. Oh, well, I'm here to set up for our horse meet tomorrow. But there's a tree that came down because of the thunderstorm that night.
The gate's closed. It's closed for a reason.
Yeah.
And
And she took it off its hinges
yeah, you don't
so she could get in.
have the right to do that. So I think at that time we could have actually. There should have been something done at that particular point too.
Yes, I realize that.
So. But here's the fair warning, and I think that's it. And any further destruction or any further unauthorized actions
on your part?
will not be tolerated.
Yes.
And if so, A, B, and C can occur. And if we cease and desist is one of those options, I'd put that in the letter as well.
Are we done?
I'm done.
You done?
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
Well, I'm not done. I got a couple things I want to bring up. So I don't want to put out names because I don't want to forget anybody, but I think a lot of people in town have been doing a great job going around picking up debris and collecting it and doing a great service to our town. And I will make it a point soon to gather as many names as I can, but again, I didn't want to put together names and list people and forget people. But as a general statement, I do want to thank the people that have been doing it, because I think they're doing a great asset to the town, and it's on their own time doing something well and something good for the town. In the same note, I think too, maybe in the future, look at a bylaw just in regards to a lot of the trash that I've seen as far as, I don't say debris, that is noticeable on our roads in the past several years. And I can assume that it's coming from our curbside trash pickup. And I can assume that because I've seen it firsthand where a barrel has been knocked over on the side of the road and just stuff is coming out of it and cars are driving by and the wind starts blowing that and it goes all over the place. So I think it may be something for us to look at in the future, that any trash that's being placed on for curbside pickup be in a barrel with a lid on it. I think it's something, you know, I look at what other towns and other cities have, and I know some of them have barrels that are given to them by whoever the town.
Part of the contract.
Yeah,
Site collection.
so that may be something.
That was cost prohibitive for us because we considered it the first time around.
Okay, so then, again, I just look at, it's very noticeable in our town that when you drive around, right up here by Five Corners, right down on many different side streets and stuff like that, it's definitely something that is noticeable, and the town people are noticing as well. So I think there's certain actions I think we as a board should look at what we can do to help and assist that as far as litter in our town.
Very shortly, we're gonna have to be addressing that anyways with the pickup, the contract coming up.
But as Chris just mentioned too, if it's not feasible for us to do it, as far as having the town providing the large, oversized trash barrels, maybe it's something that we look at as a possible bylaw or something where the trash barrels with lids are required for people to put curbside trash out.
Well, I'm in favor of raising the littering law to the maximum allowable by the state, to be honest with you.
That's great, but if we don't enforce it, it's still.
Well, that's our police department. We can tell them that we want it enforced.
But the problem
I don't think.
becomes, whose
Trash is it?
I understand that.
That's the problem you're gonna run into.
I understand.
If it's
Because a wolf or a coyote or raccoon, they put their bag out at midnight the night before,
And they rip it
and
up.
you drive by the next day and you got a hole this size in it.
You're right.
You know, you can't track down where the paper towel came from or the dirty diaper or whatever. You can have an idea, but you're not gonna know that.
Is it possible for the board to consider an ordinance where no of those small nips are allowed for sale in the town of Granby?
No, I don't think you can do that.
I'm just asking, I have no idea.
I don't think you
Because
can do
that is the biggest amount of trash when I'm out picking it up that I find. And it always comes from
Well,
people.
geez, Jay, let's see. They drive down here, they stop in Granby Liquors, they get their nip. By the time they drink it and go down, take the right at the
It's gone out the
Five
window.
Corners, I've seen them even thrown out by the time it hits CVS parking lot.
You're right, because they don't want caught with an open beverage in their hand.
I've followed the guy. He pulled out in front of me out of Granby Liquors, had a stoplight, drank it, and threw it out before the light turned green.
Oh, I
Right in
believe
front
it.
of me.
I believe it. That's why I'm saying that it's one of the biggest things in trash when I go out to pick it up.
That's impossible to do, because you don't know where that nip bottle's coming from unless you virtually see it. I mean, it could be coming from South Hadley.
Oh, I'm not saying it. I'm just saying,
I mean, so what you're saying is, we won't permit them, supposedly, which you can't do, to sell the little 200 milliliters, 200 milliliters, I think, and then they can't sell that in the town of Granby.
well, just
Well-
as Mr. Martin says, most of them are
No,
down
you don't
and
know
out the
that.
window
You don't know
as soon
that.
as possible, so they don't
I'm
go.
just saying.
Yeah.
He witnessed
I
that.
can say that because I saw that actually happen.
They could be stopping at Liquor 44 up there by the Wingate,
It could be going anywhere.
you know.
We don't know. But I just think it's, and I bring it up, it's been a noticeable increase of debris in our town over the past several years. And, you know, a lot of our town residents are doing a good thing and a good deed, if you will, by going out there and collecting the trash and, you know, because I see it on Facebook, a lot of the many trash bags of trash that's been collected, and I gotta think to myself, if they weren't doing that, that's a lot more trash that's out there. So I said, you know, it's to thank them for the work they've been doing, because I think it's a great deed that they've been doing, a great service to our town and for our town. But I think also, as elected officials of this town, we should look at options that are available to us to try to stop it, or at least slow down the debris that's in it. And again, as Chris had something that he saw, obviously I saw something that I saw that was just trash coming over the road because it was, you know, just knocked over. There's no lid on it. Like Chris talked about at night, you know, someone puts their trash out, which is understandable, because some people's trash gets picked up at 7 o'clock, 7:15 in the morning. And, you know, but again, if it's in a barrel with a lid on it, a secured lid, then chances are that's not occurring. And, you know, if that starts to happen where you see it's not being collected properly, well, then that's something we deal with the, you know, whoever the company is at that time, particular time. So just something I wanted to bring to the board, because I think it's an important thing. And I know a lot of people in town are concerned with it. So, and I don't know if there's something that we can do as far as, you know, with our senior citizens, if that's something they want to take part in, where we could even reduce their property taxes as well as an incentive. I know a lot of other towns or cities have like some type of incentive program for the seniors. So I don't know if that's something we can incorporate for our seniors, you know, to reduce their tax liability as far as like property tax, where, you know, they can go out and
There are usually
collect trash.
programs that they go out and they help out different departments, and then they get credit for it. Credit towards, I mean, depend, like, you know,
Right.
helping Mr. Martin out,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, yeah.
file something or whatever.
But it could, and that might be something that
I
we
mean,
can look
it's-
at all around
yeah.
as there a way that we can help our senior population as well. So I don't know, obviously every dollar the town obtains probably really needs, but also I think there might be some giveaway too, where we can give back a little bit to the seniors in our town. I see other towns and cities doing it. If it's feasible, maybe, I'm not saying we do it, but I say it's something that we look at and maybe consider.
Put on the table.
Well, yeah, I mean, and anything's worth looking at it, and whether it's feasible to do it or not, then that's a decision that we can come up with, or two. There's one other thing too I want to talk to the board about moving forward, and I want to bring it up now because I want to have the two other members on this board to kind of think about it and give us something to talk about in the future. And I guess, and I've been thinking about it for probably the past 6-7 months, and it's the position of our fire chief. And I know his contract is coming up next year. And I was reading up on it, and I believe it has to do with the law that if we're not considering, and I'm not saying that we are or not, and that's why I want the other two board members to kind of think about.
Give them a year, no, you have to give them a year notice, don't you?
Right, and if we don't do it within that year, it automatically extends his contract, I believe. And if someone knows something different, or I'm speaking incorrectly, please let me know. Just based on from what I read, and I bring this up because just a lot of things that this board has been dealing with as far as the fire department and the fire chief in particular, and concerns that I've seen over the past year. I want to make sure that we have the best person in that position for our town. And I'm not saying that our current chief is not that person, But I'd also like to give the town the opportunity to see if we do have that best person. If there's someone that is better suitable for our town than our current chief, and again, I'm not saying that he's not, but I like for us to take the opportunity to see what's out there. And I say that just based on what I've seen the past year and a half with our current chief. And there's definitely been some improvements, but again, I think, and speaking for the town, not as an individual, we owe it to the town to make sure that we have, with any department head, that we have the best person in that position to represent and run that particular department.
So how are you gonna do that, Glenn?
Just a quick question.
So, is there a point where, and so I want, and again, I want the board to something to think about for our next meeting, and if the board does agree on something like that, is it something that we notify the chief at this particular time that we're not looking to renew his contract? However, if we do post a position, that's a position that he can apply for.
Why would he, if you're already telling him?
You're not going to renew his contract. You're saying he's not capable of doing the job to your standard.
What I'm saying is I want to make sure that we have the best person in the place for the town of Granby in that position. And there are some concerns that I have with that, with the current chief. And I'm not saying that he's not the right person for the position, but I want to make sure that, given the options, that we see what is available for our town, to ensure that we have the best person that we can obtain in that position. And I'll be honest, and I've been upfront for the past year and a half. We've been dealing with different things. My overall concerns of some of the actions that have been dealt with, and again, I look at someone from a leadership role, someone from who we are hiring to represent our town, but also run one of our departments. I don't think we should be dealing with a lot of issues at hand. That's what we're hiring someone to do as a town. So, and again, this is something I struggle with, but again, it's something that I think it needs to be brought up for the boards to talk about, and for the board to act as they think is appropriate. And and again, I bring it up and I bring it up not for us to sit here and to start hashing things out or talking about it, but I want the two of you to take the time to think about it, and then maybe at our next meeting is something that we can discuss, and whatever way the board wishes to go, I'm fine with that. But I want to kind of, we're getting to that time frame where it's a month or two away before that's something we really need to consider. And I'm open, and I say that because I'm open to discussion from the other board members and hear their thoughts on it as well.
I think we should look at everybody then.
Well, we haven't had problems with everybody. That's why I am currently okay with our other department heads. This is one particular area that this town, this board, has been dealing with issues. So that's my concern. And that's where I am with that. There's no other department that we're dealing with certain things that we've dealt with. There's no other department that we've put someone on leave as a department head. So that's just where I am, and I think we owe it to the taxpayers and the residents of Granby to make sure that we have what they feel is the best person for the job.
So noted.
I'm sure with this, a lot of us might get phone calls and stuff like that. And again, I'm not saying I want to have us to have a healthy discussion, and I want to hear what your views are, Steve, and as well, Jay. I'd like to hear what your views are as well. on it, you know? That's all. I'm just one person on the board, and I just want to, that's something that I've been thinking about and struggling with for the past, couple months, how I felt about it, so. That's it. And hopefully you don't, again, I just want to give people the time to think about it. I didn't want to bring it up and just kind of start talking about it.
Okay. So noted. Thank you.
Wait, do we have a discussion period? I'm not gonna.
No, I'm not asking for it. Again, that's why I wanted to bring it up, so that's all.
Okay.
And that's all I have, so
Okay.
if no one else has anything else.
Yeah, I'll just wait till we have a discussion period.
Okay.
Nothing
Are
to
you all
say.
set, Mr. Martin?
Yeah, I was done.
Okay.
I'll make a motion at this time, we adjourn.
I will second Glenn's motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.